All right, hey, brother.
Hey, Al.
And welcome everyone back to another episode of Siblings in Crime. I'm Allie Russell.
And I'm Blake Murphy.
And just as it sounds, we are siblings who love true crime.
Yes, love it.
Love it. This story today, it was a tough one to do. And I almost didn't, I wasn't going to tell you the story. Mm-hmm. But then I found a Facebook page that was remembering those who passed in this. And for some reason, I think this is going to be one of those stories that just stick with me and haunt me. And this is the one.
Yeah.
So I felt moved. We're going to tell the story. We want to honor and remember these victims. But before we do that, if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, rate. Our mom is a freaking beast. She listens to every single one and has been sending it to all her friends. And so she is so awesome for that. So thank you, Mom.
Yep. We have 130 subscribers.
No way.
Yeah.
And on what day was it? Wednesday that I posted that we were really pushing for 100 by the end of the month. We still have 10 days. So thank you.
Yep. So now we're going for 250 by the end of the month.
So send to your friends.
Yes, please.
That would be very helpful. We're super excited.
Yeah. And if you subscribe or follow on other platforms, follow and subscribe on, is that you?
Yeah, on YouTube.
On YouTube as well. So we love you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to get on into it? Any other news before I get going into it?
Nope.
No news. All right, so it was a familiar drive the Parkers had taken countless times, just a few miles from town, past the dark pines and open fields, back toward their white farmhouse where the porch light was always left on. That night, nothing seemed out of place. The kids were tired, church had gone late, and the weekend stretched ahead like any other. But something between a Riverside Baptist and home, fate had already changed course. Before sunrise, the quietest road in Quitman County would become the center of a nightmare no one could have imagined. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll. The Parker family lived just outside Walnut in Quitman County, Mississippi. I was like, Walnut is like the perfect, cute little name for this small town for some reason. Mm-hmm. I love that. So they're along a quiet country road lined with farmland and pine trees. This place is tiny. I was looking it up. I was like, how tiny is tiny? It's like 5.5 square miles, less than 700 people.
Wow.
Like, it is the smallest town you can get.
Yeah.
So it seems like a lot of things they go to is like outside of their town. It's like pretty residential here.
To go get food.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
shop,
like it has
gas.
like everything you need the way some towns do. Yeah, it's located about 90 miles, or Memphis is like 90 miles northwest of Walnut, so if you can visualize that. But so not too far away from things, but
I went to Memphis one time and everyone was mean.
What?
It was weird, except for the Uber driver.
Why were you in Memphis?
Picking up an airplane.
Oh.
We were buying one.
That's so sad.
I know. I was like, I want to buy houses in Memphis, and then I went there. I was like, never mind. I love everyone in Memphis, but they were feisty.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love all the trees. I think I had
Been to Memphis?
I'm thinking Tennessee, that area.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm thinking the area is probably pretty similar. But I love all the trees. I just have a hard time, I think, without mountains. I think I'm a mountain girl now. But despite all this, they had a little cute white farmhouse that they were always working on, which is so, I think everything sounds so stereotypical. I'm like, that is so freaking adorable. Mm-hmm. It's like a very homey place that the dad was known to like work on like little projects around that place. So people who drove by could usually spot Carl, which is the dad, Parker, outside, and his wife was Bobby Joe, also the cutest name I've ever heard. She was always playing piano. So everyone said that you can hear tools and piano as you drove by that house. Carl Webster Parker, he was also known as Bubba. So I'm going to call him Bubba from here on out because I feel like we're on that level for some reason.
Nice.
Bubba was 58, and he earned his living as a welder and machinist. So as you can guess, he was very good with his hands. He helped his neighbors. He was helping like fix
blue-collar guy.
Yeah, he was like your stereotypical. He was able to fix anything. People brought their farm tools over. Like you.
Yeah.
Our chair's about to fall apart in the kitchen.
That was like 10 years ago.
You're like, come on. I'm very proud of you for getting more handsy with projects.
Handsy.
hands-on project. Yuck. But he grew up actually in this area. He attended Walnut High School and then went on to study at Mississippi State University. He served in the Korean War, so he was a veteran. Yeah.
Crazy.
He's got it all. Friends described him as reliable, which definitely sounds like it fits the whole military stuff.
Yeah.
And he was very helpful and friendly, and he was very, very involved in his church. Very religious guy. Nice. He and his wife were active members of the Riverside Baptist Church, a small congregation that served as both their whole religious life, but also their social life. So everything they did was kind of revolved around the church. As far as Bobby Joe, she was 45, and the church was like really her place, her sanctuary. She was a secretary. She was a piano teacher. She spent most of her afternoons giving lessons, and that was like her forte. So they were at church, obviously on Sunday service, but they also had like Bible study throughout the week. So they were in town for church most nights, it sounds. Before marrying Bobby Joe, Bubba had married once before to a woman named Betty. And in 1973, Betty was tragically killed in a car accident when another car came and hit theirs. Isn't that heartbreaking?
Yeah. What year is this again?
We're not going to be in 1990 today. Okay. Yeah. So this was a few years prior. And the two of them had 2 sons. So it ended up being Bubba and his 2 sons after Betty passed away. Though that chapter of his life ended with Betty, he went on to marry Bobby, and then Bobby and Bubba ended up having 2 kids of their own. So Bubba has 4 kids total, 2 with each wife.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's where we're at in this story. And his 2 older sons with his first wife, they are like grown at this point. They're living outside of town, kind of closer enough, but outside town. And their younger kids, they have Gregory Wade Parker, who's 12 years old, and Charlotte Joe Parker, who's 9. So grown adults, 2 young ones.
I always, for some reason, assume that it's like the early 1900s for every episode.
What the heck? Yeah. Why? Have we done any in the early 1900s?
I don't know. I just always do.
But you're like, in your imagination, is everything like tainted a different color?
Yeah, it's like the Model T or something.
That's so funny. Yeah, 1990, it kind of feels like that. I mean, they don't have cell phones or anything, so it's like, could have been any time between 1900 and 1990. No, but Greg, he was the son. He was kind of like a shy middle schooler, but he loved to read. He was very protective of his sister. He helped his dad around the house. But Charlotte was like the outgoing type. She was like the Spitfire one, had a lot of personality, friends with the adults type of thing. So that's our family that we're going to be talking about today. So on February 2nd, 1990, this is a Friday, the Parkers followed that same familiar rhythm. They ate dinner early, they loaded up the family pickup, and they drove into Walnut for a Bible study. Like I said, they're there most nights. And so at Riverside Baptist, they were able to go meet with their congregation. They had a nice night. People said that they saw them arrive around 7 p.m. They were very in a cheery mood. Nothing seemed abnormal. Before leaving, it sounds like they were outside around 9 p.m. saying their goodbyes, and then they were going to make like the 15, 20-minute drive back to their house. So they were there for a good amount of time, 2 hours. It was an ordinary Friday evening for the Parkers until it wasn't. Nothing suspected that within hours, the peaceful farmhouse would become the scene of one of Mississippi's most horrific crimes. So at approximately 11 p.m. on Friday, February 2nd, 1990, this quiet stretch of country road lit up with the glow of fire. Flames were visible through the pine trees, raising from the direction of the Parker farmhouse. A neighbor, his name's Billy King, he was driving home late from work. Depending on the source, he was either at his house or driving home when he saw the scene of the fire. That's when he was looking across, and it sounds like he was able to make his way either back home or to a close residential place and call the cops. Because we know, 1990, they don't have cell phones. Billy King was the first one to call it in, and that was at 11:03 p.m. While on the phone, Billy saw something that would stay with him forever. He reported to have seen 2 sets of headlights moving away from the Parker driveway and turning toward the main road. He couldn't identify the vehicles. Obviously, it's nighttime, got headlights in your face, but he just noted the site to the dispatchers and tried to do if anything could help, So the Walnut Volunteer Fire Department and the Quitman County deputies were dispatched within minutes. When the first fire, or sorry, oh yeah. When the first fire unit reached the property, they found the structure already fully engulfed. Flames poured from the south side of the house, and the roof had begun to collapse inward. Firefighters started defense operations, and with the deputies securing the perimeters and searching for any sign of this family, hoping that somebody got out. Almost immediately, crews sensed something was off. The blaze burned hotter and faster than a typical residential fire.
Accelerants.
It was the classic chemical scent.
I feel like when you're in a small town like that, so far away, it's probably harder to get any type of rescue team there, so it burned down. Like,
True.
Like if your neighbor catches fire, you're like, call the cops right away, and it's like, saw some smoke, call the cops. But
That's
these people, it's like call the fire department when you see like a bunch of smoke, because that's probably a fire, and then they had to drive in from somewhere else.
Yeah, I didn't even think about. I mean, we know they're spaced out pretty good, and so who knows how long it took for like a neighbor to see flames. And it's at night. You're not going to see a bunch of billowing smoke and stuff. So it probably took quite a while, which is so heartbreaking. It sounds like they got there kind of late.
Yeah, not their fault. But.
Right. No, that's just probably how it is with small towns.
Yeah.
But once it was safe to enter, firefighters advanced inside for a primary search. Amongst the ash and destruction, they discovered 4 lifeless bodies.
Oh, man.
By midnight, the fire was out and the home sealed off as a crime scene. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation was called in, marking the beginning of what would be an absolutely heart-wrenching case. By dawn on Saturday, February 3rd, so the next day of 1990, County Road 106 was lined with patrol cars and fire trucks. Smoke still drifting through the pine trees, carrying the familiar and devastating smell of wet ash and gasoline. What had been the Parkers' quiet farmhouse was now this like blackened shell with just nonstop patrol cars. It's like so heartbreaking. I don't know. This one affects me strongly. And now with the agents from the FBI and the county sheriff and the county sheriff whose name was Buddy, like that's who he goes by. I'm like, that's like the most small town thing. Of course his name is Buddy, just like our dog. So Buddy Hatcher and the state fire marshal's office were all on scene. They began the slow, methodical work of going through all the debris, documenting every inch of the site. Because with the accelerant, they're like, this isn't something they did to themselves. So they're trying to find any hint of where the fire could have started, what could have caused it, and why. Near the back hallway, investigators found multiple points of ignition and chemical traces consistent with gasoline and diesel fuel. So from the start, they already knew that it was an accelerant, just like you said. But the weird thing is that upon inspection, it seemed like there had been these points of where the fire was ignited happened almost closer to simultaneously. So in their mind, they're thinking they're dealing with more than one person. Which I'm like, that's impressive that you can figure that out. So I don't know if it's just like...
I always think that stuff is so crazy. Like finding out how they died, like what the cause is, how a fire started, where it started from.
I don't know.
Like that. That's all.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Just like the forensics of everything. I wish I knew more. Maybe I'll read about it one of these days. But the fact that they can figure that out, I just would be curious to see like what characteristics they're looking for to figure that out. But so
I bet it's like burn marks. Like maybe like a certain heat burns a certain way, and like where it starts is probably the hottest.
Yeah, it's got to be. I don't know like
It's got to be.
what else it could be. Yeah. I mean, I get definitely being like this is a starting point, but like this and the starting point and that starting point happened almost the same time.
Yeah.
So that part's weird to me. But regardless, I'm grateful that there's people smart enough to do stuff like that. What they found inside, besides where the fire started, is when they were going around, they were they figured it was foul play, but they didn't expect how bad that foul play was. And they, in fact, found out it wasn't an accident. And the fact that the family actually hadn't died from the fire blaze. Each victim had been bound and shot before the fire was lit.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All 4?
All 4.
Whoa.
Yeah. As daylight spread over the fields, agents began piecing together the Parkers' final hours. They had left Riverside Baptist Church around 9 p.m. That means they'd probably arrive home around 9:30 p.m. And by 11 p.m., the fire was raging, like at its full blast. So the short distance between town and their farmhouse meant whoever had done this struck like right away when they got home. So they don't think there was any like they were in bed when they got home. They think like they walked in, bad guys are there.
Yeah, and these people don't have like valuables in the house, so it doesn't sound like a robbery.
I mean, they have like your basic valuables. Like, I guess what do you have in the 1990s? What are you gonna steal in the 1990s? So yeah, TV,
Cash.
yeah, cash.
They probably carry cash.
Yeah, cash, wallet,
yeah, like safes.
watch, jewelry, something like that.
Maybe there's more to steal back in the day, honestly.
You think? Because you just can't take a phone, you know, I guess.
Yeah, but like nowadays, you don't have cash, so it's like.
That's true.
Like, I don't know your ATM number. And
That's
like,
true.
I guess I could use your credit card, but.
For some reason, when I picture
TVs,
robbery, yeah,
probably.
I always imagine just like hauling out huge TVs. I'm like, oh, they didn't really have like nice TVs or anything back then.
But back in the day,
yeah,
it's nice. But it's just hard to move.
That's true. It's like heavy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Remember the big TV we had out here?
Oh my gosh.
It was like this thick.
Yeah,
and like.
It was big. Like, yeah, and it was like standing. Those like, I think,
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with those like super. It was way thicker than
it was
that.
like
The
this
back
thick,
was
actually.
like, yeah,
I was thinking
4
about
feet.
the sides, and the back went back.
It was so deep. That's so funny.
Yeah.
That was cool at the time, though.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
Watch the World Cup in the middle of the night on that thing.
That's so
with Dad.
crazy good memories. That's awesome. So they're kind of guessing actually it's a robbery because what other indication? These were like very loved, incredible people. And especially there's 2 children. Like what would be a motive outside of robbery in these police minds?
Why did you need to kill children, though, for robbery?
Yeah, I don't know. They stumbled upon something? I don't know.
Sounds like a drug deal.
Kind of does.
Gone bad.
Are you having any guesses yet?
I don't know. Not really. I'll try, though.
Okay. I'll try, though. You're all excited to give it a shot.
I think that the dad made some people mad in some part of the town, and yeah, something like that. I don't know. Maybe owes them money.
That's a classic one.
I know.
If it's
That's
money,
the only thing I think of.
Family.
I just don't think it's
issues.
a robbery.
Okay.
I just like.
It seems a little overkill for robbery.
And like, but I've heard people be killed for less than what a lot of people have in their house. So
that's a good point. All right. Well, hold on to those thoughts because when investigators were canvassing the area, they went on to talk to all the neighbors, of course, and several neighbors reported hearing a series of sharp popping noises, like firecrackers or possibly gunshots, of course, shortly before seeing the orange glow over the tree line. Of course, no one's going to call this in. You're in the country. You probably hear things like that all the time.
People are shooting guns and stuff like that.
Probably not at like 11 p.m., but still, it probably wouldn't be uncommon. Like, oh, right now? That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I think our mom lives in northern Utah right now, and she has a neighbor who just walks out in the backyard. And I guess there's a bunch of wild turkeys in the backyard. She's in a dress and just starts popping off rounds at these wild turkeys. I think it's like a BB gun. But I think about that in the countryside. I'm like, nothing's off the table. They might have just thought, oh, there's probably a wild animal, and they're just like trying to get it off their property.
Yeah.
So like, I don't blame the neighbors. How are you supposed to know? Mm-hmm. Every piece of debris was treated as potential evidence. MBI technicians recovered melted .22 caliber shell fragments, lengths of nylon cord, tire impressions near the side yard. One print matched a Goodyear mud terrain pattern from that tire, which was like super common in the area. So at first I was like, oh, they found like what type of tread? Then it's like useless. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got that. There were also melted fragments of rope and several shoe impressions in the mud outside the backyard. So those footprint appeared to be like a military style boot. It's like that kind of like, or like a, just like a heavy duty type. Its tread partially visible in the soot near the porch steps. So they were able to like recover some sections of these footprints. They also recovered a section of black electrical cord burned on one end, believed to have been used to bind the victims. And so they're finding a lot in this fire, and they're able to work with a lot of physical evidence from that. And that's one of my favorite cases. I'm like, yes, get all the physical evidence. That is so awesome. They have so much forensics to work with. From what was left inside the home, analysts determined that the accelerant had been poured in several locations, like we talked about, and reporters began arriving from Memphis and Jackson to talk about how this was a started fire, what's the reasoning, and just kind of started speculating motive, as you'd imagine. So the sheriff was like, we have a quadruple homicide and arson investigation, and at this point he could offer no suspects, just that justice will be pursued with every resource available. So now they're on the manhunt. They know that they got bad guys.
Wait, quick question. Do they have anyone working on their farm or house recently?
Not that we're aware of. That's outside of the normal neighbors. No one's new around. They've known these people for years.
All right.
You live and grow up here.
I was thinking about that one guy that we did who killed the lady when he got out of jail.
Well, killed her mom, went to jail, then killed her.
Yeah.
That's the craziest story ever. I'm still not over that.
Yeah. See, he probably killed for less than...
That's true. That's a great example.
Yeah, and even though they were nice. But I was just thinking maybe someone was working on like their house or something and saw some money and was like, I need to get back in there. They came home from church. He freaked out, tied them all up, didn't know what to do.
Okay. That sounds like a robbery to me. You said that was least likely.
I know, but now I'm thinking like, I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah.
Is there a prison nearby? Is it a prison break?
That's funny.
I just saw like a TikTok about a prison break. So that's
really? Recently?
Not a real one. It's a movie.
Oh, I was like, holy, that's crazy. So, while they're trying to get tips and like sightings and all this stuff, at this point, the autopsy results came back.
Is there a brother or a family member who's estranged? Hates them?
I mean, I don't know the relationship between them, but we got 2 older sons and 2 younger kids.
Oh, yeah.
So we know that they don't live with the rest of the family. So that's so sad. For these 2 other sons, the family of 4 just died tragically. And their biological mom died tragically in a car accident.
Oh, yeah, they had a rough life.
Yeah, that's so sad. That's 5 loved family members all gone. And now we got these 2 boys left. So they're getting tips. They're calling everybody. They're trying to figure it out. Meanwhile, in the medical area, we got autopsies. And this is literally what makes me so sad. So I am going to give you all the details. Yeah, I'm going to be kind of brief because children are involved. Heads up. And it's heartbreaking. So we have for Carl Bubba Parker. He was the 58-year-old dad. From the court record, he and his son Gregory were bound by feet, ankles, and wrist. His ring finger on his left hand, the whole finger was missing, amputated post-mortem. And you can assume for a wedding band of some sort. He died of gunshot wounds. Okay.
Maybe these people are psycho.
Yeah. Oh, that's like
maybe they did break in to steal some things that weren't very valuable.
Maybe.
Like a wedding ring and any cash they had.
You also, when I first heard that, my thought too was you always hear with a hitman, usually you bring back some form of identification that the hit was done. So that was where my mind went with that ring originally.
Dang, that's true.
For Bobby Jo Parker, the mom and wife, according to the report, her body was found burned beyond recognition, actually on a mattress in a bedroom. And a bullet was recovered from her remains. The cause of death was a gunshot wound. For Gregory Wade Parker, age 12, like I mentioned, he was bound similar to his father, and he died from gunshot wounds. For Charlotte Jo Parker, she was just 9 years old, literally the cutest girl ever. I'll have pictures up, of course. According to the Mississippi Supreme Court, Dr. Steve Hain found sexual assault and she had been shot more than once at close range, and I think up to 3. But the cause of death for Charlotte was determined to be smoke inhalation, not the gunshots. She was found undressed from the waist down and had binding remnants on her wrist, so she too was bound. All family members bound, all of them killed. Charlotte died from the smoke inhalation and was abused. This is what makes me also so sick. is it's reported that Bubba's wrist bore the deepest ligature marks, and that firefighters noted that he almost severed his own wrist while they think trying to escape the restraints. So he's doing everything to get out. I used a lot of sources from a journalist called Salter. So Salter reports that this fact, along with the crime scene that was displayed itself, this all led investigators to believe that Bubba was forced to watch the assault on his family, including the abuse on his daughter. Hence why his wrists were that torn up trying to get out. I literally was crying reading this stuff. And I'm sorry that I shared as much as I did. That's the hardest of it. But the sequence inferred that the perpetrators, this is what they're putting together. This is their theory. The perpetrators bound the victims, abused Charlotte, possibly forced Bubba to witness, then shot the family and set the house on fire, using it as an attempt to cover their crime scene. Now they're trying to find motive, because who could do this is the most adorable, sweet family that everyone in Walnut loved. The fact that Charlotte had died from smoke is so sickening to me. They think that she actually made an attempt to escape, and she was a little bit further from the rest of the family. So, I'm so sad for that. But, so I just want to honor this family. That's so sick. And I actually never heard this case before I started studying it. And I was and it was hard to find any podcasts on it. Journaling was slim. So I wanted to do what we could to remember these people. Because the complete autopsy reports were never publicly released, the full thing, this is all we have, probably more than I need. Most details come from court summaries and that Sid Salter journalist guy rather than official documents. Salter's accounts, such as Bubba's wrists and injuries, those are theories, speculation from the scene, but I'm not claiming it as fact, so take that with you will. I just want to give that a little caveat. Together, these sources offer a clear yet incomplete picture of the crime's brutality and the sequence, but the facts remain of the cause of death, and it makes me so sick. So, heartbreaking. So we have Sheriff. Sheriff's Sheriff Buddy. He's on top of it. He's they're probably all friends, honestly. You have a town like that, everyone's involved in this case. Yeah. I can't imagine the emotional stir and pain of the town witnessing such a thing. Yeah. And the sons. Okay, Sheriff Buddy Hatcher spent most of the next 48 hours fielding tips, like we mentioned. At this point, we're only 3 days in to this scene, so everything's coming back quick. Yeah. People from across Quitman and other counties nearby called to report vehicles, strangers, sounds they heard Friday night. Most led nowhere, as you can imagine. And I respect people for calling in tips, because I feel I'd be maybe it wasn't relevant. I'd be nervous. So if you ever hear anything, if you ever think anything suspicious, call the dang tip in.
I'm always just nervous to call the cops.
I know. It's scary.
I know.
I'm like,
but it's probably fine.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I think most of all, they're just going to be helpful, if anything.
Yeah. I'm not scared, but it's just
it's intimidating.
Yeah.
It's when you're little trying to call the doctor for the first time, your parents are trying to make you schedule an appointment. Oh. You're I'm so new. Yeah. So you're but they asked me something I don't know. Yeah. But one call out of these tips, it came back and they're maybe that has some weight to it. It was from a surface station in a nearby Ripley. It caught investigators' attention because it kind of matched the scene that has been displayed from the 911 call.
The tip that they gave matched? Or what matched?
Yeah, so let me tell you. So the station owner, this gas station area, remembered two men who had stopped for fuel late that night, both appearing nervous, one with what looked like burns on his hands. And they're we know there's probably two guys from the accelerant. We know there was two cars.
And you probably have burns on your hands because you get gas on yourself.
Yeah, and if you're lighting up, of course it's gonna. Yeah. Easy way to burn yourself.
Yeah. Also, I feel gas station people always have tips.
They
see a lot of crap.
I mean, because everyone needs gasoline.
Yeah, last time the guy went in there, he's all disheveled. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally was that last week? 2 weeks ago. Mercy Lane.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I feel
But
like
if there's a gas station in Antarctica, they would have had a tip.
that's true. You got me there. It's true. I feel like gas station people don't realize how relevant they are in a lot of these cases. Hopefully they get trained on that. They're always on their game.
I'm sure they don't, but
I know, but I mean, probably to be observant for their own safety. So, of course, they're like, that's interesting. Write that down. Detectives followed that lead, checking fuel receipts and credit slips, but it was a time before digital records, of course, so it wasn't as easy as just like pulling up a credit card information. Still, the tip matched another witness actually statement from a local diner owner who recalled 2 men asking for directions toward the highway early Saturday morning. So
when did it happen? Friday?
It happened Friday night. So late Friday night, the gas station attendant saw these guys.
Yeah.
Early Saturday morning, a diner witnessed these two
Same
guys
clothes
asking.
or something? Or just random guys they don't know because they know everyone in the town.
Yeah, they don't know these guys.
See, this is why I think it's maybe like they did like the dad owes someone something.
Okay.
So they wanted him to suffer or something crazy.
Interesting.
Because he came into town, 2 strange men.
I think there wasn't like a clothing description, but like the physical descriptions are pretty similar.
Like, why would you come to a random town to rob when you could just rob in your own town or a town that might have
and
more
rob
money?
in your own town, maybe to be like out of the way. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe like rob a town that is like affluent, like has a bunch of money, like
oh yeah, true.
Like a
like
small
why are you
town.
going to go to a really small town when you can go find a rich one if you're going to drive anywhere?
Yeah.
Not that we don't know. I actually don't know if this is like
They
a really
probably don't have
area.
like burglar or security alarms. I couldn't think of what I was going to say. Fire alarms and security alarms. I meant to say security, but I said fire for some reason. But
I don't know. 1990. Do we have security alarms? Probably not.
I'll look it up. But we definitely had something in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
my dad set it off.
Burglar, you violated. That's so funny. So, while you're looking up to see when security alarms became a thing, meanwhile, in the state crime lab, they're going through all that evidence that we talked about earlier. One thing that really caught their attention was, of course, they recovered that .22 caliber shell fragments, and they were able to determine that if they found a specific firearm rifle, that they would be able to match it to. So that was like their biggest thing is the caliber or the shell fragments, because of course you can do ballistics and stuff. The state crime rushed its analysis, confirming that .22 caliber shells recovered from the Parker home matched ammunition manufactured by a Ruger pistol. So they know what the kind of gun they're looking for. That's a huge step in the right direction. And like I said, we're like 3 days in. So they're moving quick. Any news on the thing before I move on?
Nope.
Okay. It's like the easiest Google search ever.
It says the modern home security system was invented in 1966.
Holy. I wonder what... Okay. So they could have. I feel like that's highly unlikely. Every time you hear a small town, they're like, we left all of our doors and windows open every night.
Yeah.
So it seems unlikely they probably had a security system, even if it was a thing at the time. But who knows? Anyways, Sheriff Buddy met with agents from the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation and the Highway Patrol's Criminal Investigation Division. Wow, that was quite a mouthful. To narrow their search. So their starting point was parole records. Everyone recently released from Parchman Prison who had violent history. And ties to North Mississippi. Just like you said, is there anyone in jail nearby? This jail, I think, is like an hour to an hour and a half away from the Parkers. So I guess in range.
In range call.
And actually, 2 names seem to pop out. Robert Simon Jr. and Anthony Carr. Both men had been... Two.
What were the names?
Robert Simon Jr. and Anthony Carr. Any questions?
No, I was going to say, I feel like everyone, like all murderers and assassins go by 3 names, but I'm wondering if they just call them that or if that's how they really go. But the second guy, you didn't say 3 names. So.
That's funny. They're always a junior. Robert Simon Jr.
Yeah, like John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah. I'm sure they give the whole name because you don't want a John Booth to be just getting slandered on social media.
Yeah, but they didn't give the full name of the other guy.
Yeah, maybe he didn't have a middle name. Well, neither did Robert Simon Jr. is not like... Junior is like a...
I know. I didn't think about that. I just was listening to 3 names.
But you're right. I think that they usually try to give the whole identification. So both men had been paroled only months earlier. Simon was 26 and had served time for armed robbery and aggravated assault.
Jeez.
Anthony Carr was 24 and he was put in jail for burglary and larceny. After their releases...
they sound like they fit the bill.
Yeah, they sound like a great bunch. After their release, they were seen in the Batesville and Lampert area, less than an hour from the Parker farmhouse, driving a 2-ton Ford pickup and trying to sell small firearms for cash, evidently. Well,
like illegal firearms?
Yeah. My impression of this is I feel like if they recently got out of jail, they're probably going to be looking for money, quick cash.
Yeah, true.
On top of having some criminal history, the descriptions of the two potential suspect sightings that we talked about earlier, the gas station guy and the diner, they seem to kind of match Simon and Carr, just the basic description. And we all know it's not super reliable, but that's what we got. By February 4th, the fire was on February 2nd, so we're like in the same time frame. A bolo went statewide for 2 recently patrolled men traveling together in a maroon and white Ford pickup, possibly armed. This is why you shouldn't pick up hitchhikers that said that they were recently paroled.
I know, I didn't mean to. Told me when we were already driving down the road.
You're like, oh, crap.
I was like, oh, don't tell me for what for, please.
Don't tell me anything else. Just drive in silence.
Yeah. He's like, I killed someone.
Oh, my gosh. I would be like, get out right now. Yeah, and
I wouldn't want to make him mad.
That's true. But I'm like thinking about the small town. They're probably all like friendly.
Yeah.
And they're like maybe offering guys a ride. But obviously they had their own pickup in this case. So that afternoon, a deputy near Clarksdale spotted the truck parked behind a small house. When he pulled in, Robert Simon stepped outside, actually. Cigarette in hand, calm. He was there. Anthony Cari was inside, half asleep on the couch. So he was like, found the truck, found the guys. It was quick. So they wanted to obviously talk to these guys. Officers searched the truck and found a .22 Ruger pistol and the type of gun that matched the ammunition found at the scene. And so they were like, we're going to book him up, see what we can get from him. During booking, deputies discovered a gold wristwatch in Simon's pocket, later identified by relatives as belonging to Carl Bubba Parker.
Oh, wow. They probably didn't have anywhere to put stuff because they don't really have anything.
They're kind of
transit. So they probably
keep it on themselves.
Yeah, they have it.
Meanwhile, investigators located the Parker's own family pickup abandoned and burned less than a mile from the farmhouse, an apparent attempt to destroy evidence. So the 2 trucks that were leaving, they were still in the Parker's family truck as well, which is weird because they went on to just light it up. So I don't know why they even brought that with them, but that was their attempt to destroy the evidence. At the lab, the test firing, so they go to the lab, test fire Simon, his gun, and it produced casings that matched perfectly, actually, with those recovered from the Parker home. The forensic link was now, undeniable. So they're like, we got our guys. So that's, crazy. This is, a weekend's of work.
A weekend?
A weekend.
Yeah, they crushed it.
Yeah, they crushed it. So now they're
what's the name again?
Why the heck are they doing this?
I'll look them up.
Of the 2 bad guys?
Yeah.
Anthony Carr, 2 R's, and Robert Simon Jr. And then, from an unexpected source, as if the forensic wasn't enough. Forensic is always enough in my eyes. But they found some confirmation. Sheila Simon, Robert's own wife, told investigators her husband and Carr had been gone that Friday night. And when they returned, she said that they smell of gasoline. Nice, check. His hands were blistered, and he was carrying a gun he refused to let her touch. I don't know why she won't touch it, but he mentioned a robbery that had gone bad. Robbery that gone bad, okay? So it's looking like his motive was robbery all along. Her account gave investigators, the full timeline, and it matched wildly close to the crime scene. From the Parker farmhouse to the moment the killers actually got home after. Within days, both men were indicted on 4 counts of capital murder, 1 for each member of the Parker family, along with charges of robbery, arson, and rape. They would be tried separately, actually, but prosecutors made one thing clear from the start, is that the state would seek the death penalty for both. I'm like, I've never been so, sometimes I'm like, oh, it's the death penalty, right? I've never been so sure. I'm like, yes, death penalty for these guys. Absolutely, 100,000%. Especially because from what we can see, I don't know if it's a spoiler, there is no relation to these guys in the Parker family.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, so Bubba wasn't in anything shady. It was a random house they picked. They wanted to rob, and from speculation, they walked in on a burglary.
Yeah. I didn't mean shady, but I just meant like owed money or something.
Yeah, or anything, you know. I know that you weren't like being weird about him, but like sometimes, I mean, yeah, you could get a loan in like a good contracted right way, and still something can go wrong. So. After their arrest on February 4th, 1990, Robert Simon Jr. and Anthony Carr were taken to the Quitman County Sheriff's Office for questioning. This is interesting because they've already recovered a ton of forensics. Simon's wife has already gave a statement and is willing to testify. And, like, she turned on him so quick. I'm like, atta girl. Like, I love when the wives do that. I'm like, do not back this loser up.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting is that they went into interrogation right away. On February 6th, just 2 days later, Simon actually gave a taped statement to the investigators. Unfortunately, I don't have that tape, and it's not access to the public, but it is a tape that was allowed in court during the prosecution. So I think that's a pretty big thing. In it, he voluntarily gave this statement. Simon was advised of his rights, still did this, and in it, he admitted his participation in the robbery and murders of the Parker family. The court later summarized that Simon's account was consistent with the physical evidence recovered at the scene, including the .22 caliber weapon and burn evidence. The tape, like I said, was played in the prosecutor's case. That specific transcript and audio of the confession, no one else has seen it outside of that courtroom, so I don't know exactly what was said in order to make it so obvious it was aligned. Mm-hmm. But Anthony Carr was like, no, I didn't do that. I was like, you have your buddy being like, we did this. It matches the crime scene perfectly. It implicated himself and Anthony. And when Carr was questioned, he denied all involvement. He claimed that Simon was responsible for the violence. Simon did everything. Mm-hmm. But investigators were like, okay, tell us your story. And it was wildly inconsistent with the crime scene compared to what Simon said. Mm-hmm. So Anthony was just screwing himself.
Yeah. I feel like they try, like whoever talks first normally gets the lighter sentence too.
That's true. Yeah. So if you're ever doing bad things, tell everybody. Just kidding.
Tell on everyone.
Yeah, tell, and then we can all have peace about it because we can get justice. Mm-hmm. So while the exact language of Simon's confession, like I said, remains sealed, its existence and content were verified through multiple levels of judicial review. So the courts found that the statement was obtained legally, which is like always a risk. Like anytime you have a confession, you're really hoping that they got it the right way. So it was contained legally, reflected the evidence, and left little doubt that both Robert Simon Jr. and Anthony Carr were the men responsible for the Parker family massacre. After the arrest, Robert Simon and Anthony Carr, they found a unique problem. Overwhelming publicity, of course. And it's a weird time because 1990, you don't really have the media the same way you do. Mm-hmm. But they would have to leave the jurisdiction in order to have anyone that didn't know about this case. So that's what they're going to be doing. And there was multiple victims. So they actually did something interesting to me. I've never heard of it. Have you heard of severance? I've never heard the term. Mm-hmm. You have heard of severance in the judicial term?
Oh, no.
Yeah. So in criminal law, severance means like dividing charges or defendants into separate trials rather than trying them all together. Judges can grant severance to prevent jury prejudice, to simplify complex indictments, or in cases like this, to manage venues changes when local publicity makes like an impartial jury impossible. Mm. So
I always feel like that's stupid because something big happens.
How are you not?
You're gonna hear about it everywhere.
Yeah.
Not just in. Or like, oh, we just have to move
Walnut.
to a different county.
Yeah.
It's like, well, the whole state, 2 states now.
Well, this is what was interesting to me. So in Simon's case, the state sought severance for 2 reasons. So, of course, like that public issue. So that's one reason. But another, the prosecutors believe that the splitting the charges could improve their strategic position. He had 2 trials. In the first, like, if the jury deadlocked and spared him from death, they would have another attempt on the second trial. So they really wanted these guys to get the death penalty so bad. Mm-hmm. They actually made Charlotte her own case and the rest of the family a separate case. Their goal was to try and get the death penalty for both. So if one had a hung jury of some sort, maybe he'd still get it. Mm-hmm. It was very, very fascinating to me. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Simon's first trial, later known as like Simon 1, Woo, creative. Yeah. Began on June 18th of 1990 in Jones County. This proceeding covered the murder of, like I said, 9-year-old Charlotte Parker, along with related kidnapping and sexual battery counts. After several days of testimony, the jury found Simon guilty on all counts, but could not reach a unanimous decision on the death penalty. Shocking. As required by Mississippi law, the judge imposed a life sentence for Charlotte's capital murder conviction. I thought Charlotte's would be the one that they would give the death penalty for over the rest of the family. But this jury could not decide, and it actually drives me crazy. Anything with kids, I think death penalty. In my controversial opinion, maybe. Later that year, in October of 1990, Simon stood for trial again, this time in DeSoto County. I probably don't say anything right. Don't care. Now he's standing trial for the murders of Bubba, Bobby Joe, and Gregory Parker. This second proceeding, known as Simon 2, included testimonies from forensic analysis, FBI agents, and Sheila Simon herself, the murderer's wife. The prosecution presented Simon's taped confession, the ballistic match linking his Ruger pistol, and the wristwatch taken from his pocket that was Bubba's. So it's like very obvious these people did this. The DeSoto County jury found Simon guilty of all 3 counts of capital murder and returned death sentences for each person. I love that. So the Mississippi Supreme Court affirmed the convictions and sentences in 1993 and reaffirmed them on resentencing appeal in 1995. So I was like, wow, that strategy actually worked, because if they all would have been convicted in the first trial, then he would not have got the death penalty. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I was like so confused at first. I'm like, why do you have 2 trials? Trying to figure it out. But I mean, that was really smart on the prosecutor's side. And so he got the 3 death sentences from each person. Wow. And I was like, heck yeah. Except for I'm like Max. I'm like, yeah. And for Charlotte, she was like the most abused. But I can get off. I can go about that forever. As far as Anthony Carr's trial, it took place a few months later in Alcorn County after another charge of change of venue, whatever. They all were in different places. Prosecutors presented the same physical evidence tying both men to the scene, the same things I just mentioned, and Carr denied involvement, claiming that Simon acted alone. But the jury rejected his account. He was found guilty on 4 counts of capital murder, 1 for each member of the Parker family, and sentenced to death. His conviction and sentence were upheld on appeal. Both Simon and Carr remain on Mississippi's death row to this day, though.
Yeah, it's pretty normal.
How come it takes so long?
Because they can appeal everything.
Yeah, so they've been doing appeals left and right.
And you can't kill someone, like, if they're appealing something.
Because of the process.
It's like...
I just don't know, like, how many appeals...
Because if the guy's innocent, then it's like... Or it didn't do whatever.
Yeah, like something was
you
wrong.
You kill someone,
yeah.
It has to be, like, no doubt.
It's just crazy to me that they can be doing that for 35 years.
Yeah. What's weird to me is they tell us what they had for their last meal. Like in the press conferences, like the other one that just happened in Arizona. It's like, yeah, we've killed him by lethal investigation, and he had a Big Mac right before he died. It's like, what the heck?
The weird part to me, it's not just it's a Big Mac. It's a Big Mac with lettuce, tomato, ketchup, mustard. It's like, what? I don't even know its exact order.
He had fries, animal style, a large Diet Coke,
chocolate milkshake,
a pie, and it was like
cherry.
Yeah, it's like, wow, it's like so weird.
So weird and so.
But
specific.
Every single one, they say everything they had.
I wonder if that's just like probably been.
It's like a tradition.
Yeah, like, let's say like it's been going on for however many years, and they have to keep it up.
A lot of times, it's like they chose not to eat or something like that.
Yeah, true. Or like his last words were sometimes like last words. Yeah, so it's such a weird.
And they always have like spiritual counsel with them or not.
Oh, true. Like they wanted a priest with them or whatever.
Yeah, or they did it.
So interesting. So for Dean and Scott Parker, the 2 sons that are still living, that is so heartbreaking. Bubba's sons from his first marriage, the verdicts brought relief but not closure. Both spent the next 3 decades writing letters, attending hearings, and urging state officers to carry out the sentences. They wanted that justice to be fulfilled. They became like quiet custodians of their family's story, like always trying to keep up with what's the most recent. And he determined that the murders of their father, stepmother, and half-siblings would not fade from Mississippi's memory. However, Dean Parker, the older one, died in 2016, never seeing the execution he'd fought for, reportedly from cancer, I believe. And Scott Parker, the younger of the two, he was like the last surviving child, and he was doing everything to try and push this to see this fulfilled before he passed. He actually died in 2021 at the age of 56. So, like that journalist Sid Salter, he sounds like he got to know the brothers pretty well. He has like this great article about like how great these guys are, but he marks Scott's passing with the words that justice still eludes the Parker family, which is like so sad. It just haunts them. More than 35 years have passed since that night on February 2nd, 1990. The convictions are final. The evidence is like undisputable. And yet both Robert Simon Jr. and Anthony Cari remain alive on Mississippi's death row, their appeals continuing long after the Parker's loved ones are gone. What began as a crime that stunned a small community has become a symbol kind of like of delayed justice for the family, just like frozen in time. I found like Remember the Parker's Facebook page. Like that's what I said. I saw on Facebook. And they're posting pictures of the family and like anniversaries. And it sounds like they're just like, we're so loved. And they give updates of the case, like appeals and such. And I definitely recommend taking a look to remember and honor the family who were attacked and tortured so brutally and so cold-heartedly. This is definitely one, like I said, of those cases that is just going to stick with me. So those who still remember the Parkers ask for only one thing, actually, that the state finish what the courts began and finally delivered the closure that Dean and Scott Parker waited their entire lives to see. On that Facebook page, the last post actually was February 2nd of 2024, so on the anniversary of last year. And it says, if you have a minute today, please call the Attorney General of Mississippi and ask what's the status of Robert Simon Jr. and Anthony Carr. And it gave the phone number. It's 601-359-3680. She said, thank you for you all in advance. We all appreciate your care and support over these last 34 years. And that is the case of the Parker family that literally just breaks my heart in two. But seeing that they are still trying to get this justice fulfilled, I wanted to do it. If anyone wants to call that number, get an update. I know it's kind of a scary thing to call maybe and hear about murderers. But I think pushing for like that pressure really does a lot for families like this. So the Parkers I know are very loved. They are the most precious family, and I just wanted to honor them today. So that is our case.
Thank you.
True crime news, Ohio State update.
Ohio State update. We beat Wisconsin. We shut him out. It was awesome. Julian Sayin crushed it. Now he's one of the Heisman finalists.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate killed it. We need to keep improving on the run game. We had another freshman run the ball a decent amount, so hopefully...
That's exciting to see the next couple years then.
Yeah, so it's been good. All right, so we decided to find some facts about robbery and when it turns violent. So robbery accounts for a substantial share of violent crimes.
Last time you told me it didn't.
I know. It just changed.
It's updated.
In 2019, robbery made up 22.3% of violent crimes reported in the U.S. Well, I think
Violent
we
is
said
different.
burglary before. This is robbery.
Yeah, true.
So this is like someone like tries to like steal your something in the middle of the street and then like shoots you or something.
And it makes sense that that'd be, and violent doesn't necessarily mean kill, right? Like you get beat up and stuff.
True. Killing, such as murder or non-negligent manslaughter, are much less frequent. That same report showed murder accounted for less than 1.4% of violent crimes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Lower numbers.
Research shows that many robbery murders are not purely incidental. Killing victims is intrinsic in some robbery situations. For example, armed robbery is far more likely to result in the victim's death than an unarmed robbery. Robbery murder patterns indicate that the killing are an intrinsic byproduct of robbery. And one study shows that among other forcible felonies, about 60% of killings occurred during robberies.
Dang.
So don't get robbed.
Yeah.
Just give them anything they want.
Yeah. Honestly, that's real.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the not so fun facts.
Mm-hmm.
Scary. And thanks for listening to this week's episode. We'll be back next week with another episode of Siblings in Crime.
Bye.